Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the special meeting organized by District 126 for all the club coaches who have taken a step ahead to enhance their learning and not only help their own selves, but also help the fellow Toastmasters and clubs who are trying to grow but are struggling a bit and need a helping hand. Before I go ahead with the meeting, please understand that we'll have 3 ground rules that we will follow throughout this meeting. Please mute your devices if you're not speaking. Please try to switch on your camera, turn them on and stay on videos throughout the meeting to make it more interactive. But in case you are moving from your place, please turn off your camera so as not to distract the speaker on the stage. Last but not the least, I'm sure we will not have too much of it in this meeting. But let's not talk about sex, religion, and politics in a derogatory manner. With this, we will go ahead with the meeting today, and let me introduce to you somebody who has taken extra efforts to make our listening multifold. That is our very own DTM Brahm, who is joining us from Canada. There's a lot to talk about him, but I will have to keep it brief so as the learning happens more. But a bit about Toastmaster Brahm is that he's a master coach and he has been a trainer for over 29 years. He has a background of chartered accountancy and leadership coach. He has been a coach to many large organizations and he has a thorough knowledge about change management, cultural change, inspiring leaders to be highly effective. He has been also awarded as a Club Coach of the Year in 2021, and wherein he changed the face of how MI Speak Toastmasters Club existed. It was a club which was on 2 members, and he made that club one of the top 5 clubs now across globe. So I am sure that the learnings he would have got in that process is something that we all can learn from. Also, now that club from those 2 members have 53 active members. So keeping that many active members itself is a journey to be seen. Also in February 2022, he founded Leadership Speak, which he's also a member now of. And that club was chartered within a week of it being launched. So I think that's commendable, and you really need a lot of persuasive skills for people to get that much inspired and join this journey of development for them. But today, DTM Brahm is here for a special reason, is that we all have been appointed as club coaches for few of the struggling clubs. He will be sharing with us the details of how we can make those clubs much, much better, make them grow in the right direction, and also find out what is that one specific area which that particular club needs to be working on, and how can we do this. This 1 whole year journey will include all the trainings, the ideas, the experiences that he will be sharing with us. So I hope we all have this amazing session. We go with bag full of learning. Over to you, DTM Brahm. We'll be all ears to listening, learning, and exploring what you have experienced.
Thank you. Thank you very kindly for that introduction. It's good to be here in District 126, all the way from District 86. So I've skipped 40 districts from 86 to 126 to get here, right across the oceans in this continent. So good morning, everyone. It's morning at my time, or good evening your time. And there's quite a bit of things that we can learn together today. The very first thing is, could we have your videos on? Like I'm talking to a blank screen, like I'm talking to 1, 2, 3, 4 people, only 5 people. That's it. Where's the rest of them? Thank you, Suresh. So if you put on your video, then, I'm so used to the video. I live in Canada. We always have our videos on. We insist you put your videos on in our clubs. So if you can put your video on, that'll be great. So I can see your face. Low bandwidth, I understand. I was born in Kenya and I go to Kenya on a regular basis, which is East Africa. Bandwidth is the big issue. Okay, somebody's traveling. All right. The very first thing is, have you registered? Do you know this club coach program that's new this year? So, let's do this way. You may want to, you prefer to have your videos off for low bandwidth, whatever it is, that's fine. At least let's have an interaction. Just me talking one way doesn't do anything at all. There's no learning one way, I believe, especially in a coaching session. Coaching session is always two ways. That's the only time coaching happens. And so if it was mentoring, yeah, I could just keep saying whatever, but it is really a coach's program. And so coaches are involved, and there's a conversation that needs to happen between you and me to progress to where we want to go. Of course, most of the conversation would be from my side, but I need some conversation from you. So agreed? Yeah. Okay. So this particular program, do you know it's on right on Toastmasters International website, and on the pathways, you have the actual program itself, coaches program module. You all probably going through it or have gone through it already. Yes. You can show your hand or shout. Just shout. Yeah, putting up your hand. Talk to me, okay? Yeah. Put your microphones on. It's all right. Yeah, I don't mind your dogs that barking in the background or your kids, because we need to talk. I need to hear your voice. Okay, so now you have to register if you're not registered for this program module, and you have to go through this program module to be a club coach. All right. I won't go through this. It's all there. It's explanatory. I'm going to actually go not in theory. I'm going to go into practical things that you can immediately go into your club and begin to use, rather than all the theoretical things that we seem to be experts at in Toastmasters sometimes. And I'm going to avoid that totally. I don't believe in theory. I believe in, when the rubber hits the road, you have to start rolling. So that's what we're going to do. Now, the question here is, why does a club need a coach? Anybody? What do you think? Anybody?
Because especially when the membership falls down to below the standard levels, 12, below 12.
Below 12, okay. And what's the minimum?
What's the minimum? 8.
8.
Between 8 and 12, but a club can have a coach. They won't be on the dashboard or wherever, or they won't be reported if they're below 8, but they can still have a coach, right?
Yes.
Good. So now, but you're telling me the effect, right? What is the symptom though? Why does a club which has 20 members, 25, 30 members suddenly have 12 or below? Why does that happen? And that's why do they need a coach?
The
what
lack
could be
of
some of the reasons?
quality meeting.
Yeah.
Quality meetings.
I think there are areas of improvement which the club themselves are not able to identify clearly. There can be varied reasons, be it meeting quality, be it the things the member are receiving from the club, or external factors including, but we as a club are not able to recognize that factor, and that's why we need somebody from outside who tells the right things and work on it.
When the club, I just would like to add one point. When the club itself, demotivates from its purpose of being Toastmasters.
Yes. And that affects the quality of the meeting.
Yeah.
So now we are going further, deeper in. Absolutely. Last week, no, this is just, well, today's Sunday, so this is a brand new weekend. So 3 days ago, I was in a club. I was invited to a club on Thursday morning, my morning time. It was evening time in Kenya. And she's the past district director trying to help the club along. And last year it was doing great. And this year suddenly, 20 members on the books, but nobody turning up, or 6 or 7 members turning up. They had to sort of ask members from all over the district to come and help them. Fortunately, which they did. That's because the president is not on the pathways. And he openly says, I don't care about pathways. Go figure, huh? I'm not on pathways, I don't care about it. And he openly says that. Number 2, there's always arguments between the club executive. The egos are high. I'm right, you are wrong, and we have to do it my way. So immediately one year the club can be very strong. The next year, new executive comes in and boom, gone, just like that.
Mm.
And so, you know, the politics and people saying, you know, it's BJP versus Congress or something, I don't know. So suddenly something happens, right? and so those are the factors that affect, of course, the quality, affects the members coming, they don't see good energy in the club and they don't want to be there. Why should they be there? You know, a click of a button and I can transfer my membership to another club very easily. People will stay in a club that is good quality. There's a fun factor as well as learning. You know, that if there's no learning, there's only fun, people will leave. If there's only learning and there's no fun, people will leave. If there's low quality, people will leave. If there's politics, people will leave, and so on and so forth. So that's why a club needs a coach. Now, what is coaching is different from mentoring? Well, actually, a club coach is actually both, usually coaching and mentoring, because you have experience in how a club works, or at least how a fairly good club should work. I mean, I'm not saying that your club doesn't have to have, you know, 30, 40 members, you know, and it has to have, you know, presidents distinguished every year. That's not necessary. But you need to know why a club needs a coach, and you need to know that even your own club should be doing a bit better than the club that you're coaching, because you have to walk the talk, right? So whatever is going on in your club, you're going to bring it to the other club as well, you know, what you've been exposed to. So, you know, if you're coaching some other club, get together with your own club as well and your own executive. If it's not doing that great, to say, hey, now I'm coaching this club and I know I have some experience and I'm attending courses on coaching. Let's see how we can do our own club well. But okay, the club that you are in and the coaches, what's the first thing you should do?
Get all the data of their membership, educational qualification, and how often the club meets, and what is the factor that is stopping them to have a good quality meeting.
Number one thing is, whenever I'm invited to a club, right, to speak, not even a coach. If I'm invited to a club to speak, first thing is I will look at the dashboard and see how many members, how many goals this year, what happened last year. Then I will ask, you know, the executive team who is inviting me to come and speak to the club, let's have a meeting beforehand, a briefing meeting beforehand, so that we can talk about what's your requirement. Okay. So similarly, as a coach, you look at the dashboard, you look at the previous years, you know, what's going on, what's the trend, right? Very essential. You should know the numbers and see whether even last year they were not doing well and this year they're not doing well, or last year they were doing great and this year they were not doing this great, that great. What is the reason? Let's have a briefing meeting with the executive team, all right? Because you can only become a coach if the executive team invites you. If the president is happy, the VP of education is happy, they'll invite you to be a coach, because a club in itself is an entity, is a legal entity in its own. It is not answerable to anybody except the board at Toastmasters International. And you know that, or you should know that. It is not answerable to your coach. It is not answerable to your club growth director or your district director. They can say, I don't want to know you. They can. And some clubs do that, actually. So they have to invite you. And if they're inviting you, that means, hey, let's have a meeting, you know, like let's find out what's going on. And as soon as you go for that meeting, you will immediately know whether there's politics involved or, of course, they have lost the way. Politics, because those who turn up want to succeed, and those who didn't turn up in the executive team, you'll hear from the president, or if the president is the one who is the renegade, you know, you'll hear from the others, you know, what's really going on. So now, you have, once you meet them, whoever it is that you're meeting, you have to find out who the club champion is of those people that are in meeting with you. Do they really want the club to succeed? So find a club champion, somebody who really wants the club to succeed. They have to be on your side. Okay. They have to be on your side because you're going to be coaching them, and you're going to, and coaching doesn't mean that you're going to be right either. You're going to find a ground. Let's try this, let's try that, let's succeed here. Can we succeed here? Can we succeed there? Let's try a few things. And so those are the sort of conversations you will have. You are not going there as an, I know everything, I'm going to be the expert. I go into a club, I don't know. Right now, I don't know even here, right? That's why I said, let's have a conversation so that I can get a feel of District 126. I can be talking Canadian to you. I mean, there's some certain universal principles, of course, but I can be talking Canadian and you wouldn't understand, right? Because of the cultural difference. So that's why I asked, let's have a conversation. And so in that conversations, things will come out. And you have to have regular conversations with the executive team or the club champions, even members who really want the club to succeed, and who these members are, you have to find out. So you have to start attending meetings of the club. You have to attend meetings, be introduced as the coach right from day one. As soon as you sign the paper, nowadays it's more formal. And the club knows, and the executive knows you are coming there as a coach, and you must be introduced and have you speak even for 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes, even do a 7-minute speech about coaching. Or don't talk about negative things, of course. Just talk about generally, like you want to succeed and you want to be inspired, and you've done well in the previous year, and let's do great this year. And that's sort of a conversation, right? Keep it very positive. And when you are allowed to speak and asked to speak to the members. Number two, of course, go through the agenda and meetings and what is really going on, and the minutes. And the club secretary does have a minutes and what really went on. Do they keep minutes? Some clubs don't want to and don't do, and that's okay. But most clubs do, and so what's really going on with that? Now, that's the foundation. See, this is very practical, and that's the foundation of how to begin to get into a club and begin to create a rapport. Keyword, write it down. Create rapport with the executive team or with the club champions. That they begin to understand you, that they know that you're going to care for them and care about them, that you have a genuine interest for them to succeed. It is not for your DTM that you become a club coach. If you're just there because, I want my DTM, so I have to do this coaching, and then at the end of 6 months or a year, I get my DTM, it will not work. Key leadership thing about coaching is, what is the interest there? Is it just self-interest, or it is really about serving? If you are just here for your DTM, don't be a coach. But if you're here to say, how can I help you? How can I get you to be better? And you know what Mahatma Gandhi said? In serving others, we find ourselves. So it is when you're reaching and you're coaching that you find yourself. How can I help you? What is it? What's in it for all of us together? We are a team. Actually, a club is a team of people. Right? But most people in a club membership don't think of themselves as a team. They don't think of themselves as an international cricket team, right? If it's an international cricket team, for example, all the players will turn up for practice, and they will think of themselves as team players. How many people in a club think of themselves as team players? They say, I'll come on Thursday, it's a meeting, I'll do this role. You're waiting at the meeting, and suddenly the guy isn't there. He hasn't told you whether it's coming or not. No team players. So how do you create a team? How do you create collaboration? Right? It's very, very important. And it is sometimes talking to individual person, one-on-one, right? And say, I'm the club coach. I'm here to help the club. What are your goals? And let's meet your goals. If you have to do that. VP of Education, VP of Membership should be doing that if they're the positive ones who really want the club to succeed, or you do it yourself, because sometimes the coach might have to step in a little bit in the beginning, depending on how good or bad the club is. You have to assess that, right? Most of the time, if it is the executive themselves, the members themselves, if they can do it, better. If you want to get involved, that's fine too. When there were 2 members in my Speak Toastmasters club, there were 8 on the books. 6 of them said, we don't want to do anything with the club. We will never come back. This was in February. They said at the end of March, we are not renewing. Bye-bye. So, there was only 2 members. I didn't have to find club champions. There was no club executive. There was nothing. I mean, we just voted one member as the president and the other person as the secretary, because you'd have to have a president and a secretary. Now, when there's only 2 members, and they have no clue about how a good club works, I had to do the hard work myself. I had to go into the district. This was in the physical days, so it wasn't Zoom. I would go to. It was in February, so there was contest time. I went to every contest, area and division contest, and I would invite speakers, the winners from the area and division contest, to come and speak at the club. And then I would call all my colleagues in the district that I knew and say, "Come on, we have a winner at the area level or division level speak today, and there's an evaluator who's won at the district or division level or whatever. He's going to be evaluating that speaker. Come over, and could you do some roles today, grammarian role or counter or Toastmaster or GE, whatever it is." So I had to do that. Here, if it is very low numbers and, there's a potential that guests come in and when they see a very low number, they say, "Why should I be in this club? The last club I went to, there was lots of people. I'd better go there." So try and see if you can invite people or have the club invite people to the meeting so that, the meeting feels a bit more fuller, so that all the roles can start be filled as much as possible. If you come to leadership, because in advanced club, we don't have that many people in an advanced club, usually in advanced club, 20 people is about all you have. And of which, on a regular basis, there's about 12 people may attend, right? That's about average for a club. So some roles never get filled. What do? When you come to the club, you'll see all the roles filled actually. Constantly, there's a stream of guests coming in to fill in the roles. And when they come and fill in the roles and they'll really like the quality and how you are conducting the meetings and so on, they say, "I want to be a member here." So when we had 2 members, I had 12 to 15 people come into the club every week, the same people, week after week after week. For 3 months, they came, the same people, as guests. And they acted as if they were members. Why? From day one, they saw there was value that they didn't see anywhere else. And even though they didn't know each other, or they were strange, or some of them knew a little bit about each other, they became like a club, and yet they were guests. And they ran the meetings. At the end of the 3 months, I started having joint meetings. This was now online, 2020, and it was March. So, in February, there was no pandemic. In March, everything closed down, and we had to go online. So, for 3 months, we ran the meetings just with the guests, and then 2 people joined, or 3 people joined the club as guests. I started to have a joint meeting with a club in Delhi. Then I had a joint meeting with a club in Chennai. And then I called in a past international president to come and speak to the group for 20 minutes, keynote. And when the members started to see, day by day, the quality was increasing. It was great. The environment was awesome because I provided the environment. I made sure that the environment was positive and forward. And this is the only way I ever talked to anyone. And when they started seeing the joint meetings and they started seeing international presidents coming and the past world champion of public speaking, whoever started coming, they said, "I want to be in this club." At the end of the 3 months, all these 15 people or 17, 18 people, God knows how many there were, they threw up and said, "We gave up. We want to be members. Here's my money. Take my money. I just get me in the club." I never asked anyone to be a member. Those who are, from the district helping, I never asked them any day, be a member. They just, because of what we were doing, they didn't sit in their own club. So they were compelled that if they stop coming, they will not get that value that they were getting here, that they were not getting elsewhere. And that is what it is about online meetings. If people are not compelled to stay as guests, you will never have them. They'll come, click, and they'll be gone if they are not served properly. So what does that mean? What's the lesson here is that when there are low numbers, try and get other people involved in your club from the area, from the division, from the district. You have to be a good networker. This is part of your coaching training, right? Be a good network. It helps you in your in the work that you're doing, how to network with people, how to sort of create a rapport with people, how to sort of connect. I use the word connect. I use the word connect is the key foundational word that I've used throughout my career, outside in organizations as well as in Toastmasters. So you're right. There's the three factors. All right, is what's the purpose of the club? What's the club culture and the quality of the meeting? Now, what do I mean by the purpose of the club? Why does the club exist? See, the executive team has called you in as a coach. They've agreed. They've signed papers. Then the district director or the club growth director signed you up. You are ready to get your DTM, but you are here to serve. You met with the executive. You met with the club champions and said, okay, let's succeed. Here's our plan. Okay, why do you exist to begin with? Why this club? If you shut this down, people will go to another club. Why do you exist? So at MySpeak, we created a vision statement to be a world-class online club. That is it. To be a world-class online club with 3 members. That was the vision. Because when there is a vision and people buy into the vision, people will follow through. Nobody had ever heard at that time, 2 years ago, what world-class meant in a Toastmasters club. They had motivational speakers speak about it. Some big organizations say we are world-class, whatever. They had never heard at all, ever. You still don't hear most clubs say, we are going to be world-class. This is our vision. And that was our vision. We are going to be world-class. And we did prove it. So now, why does the club exist? What's the purpose? What is the type of service they're providing? You can say we are going to be excellent at serving and have high quality meetings. That is our purpose, and then you'll strive to do that. What is a high quality meeting? So now back to you guys. What's a high quality meeting?
Having all the roles filled, excellent speakers and evaluators who always ready to chime in and take part in the session.
When all the people find some value out of the meeting, that let it be from the speeches or from the evaluations or table topics, they find that there is some value for the time which I've spent today, for the 2.5 hours. That's what I refer as a quality meeting.
Toastmasters Brahm, I would like to add another perspective for this.
Yes.
A person who is attending the meeting, he should be able to feel that, okay, this is okay for me to join public speaking, and he's coming out of his fear of public speaking. And this is the best platform that I can join and learn the skills of public speaking. Because if value addition by content wise, anyone can give and they can get from anywhere. To be a Toastmaster, to enroll them to be a Toastmaster, they should be able to feel that, okay, this is a learning platform that speaking incorrectly or not perfectly, and this is the platform that I can join and learn the art of public speaking. That's what I look at the perspective.
The art of public speaking. Now, the 16,000 clubs all committed to the same thing, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and that is fine, and that is the way it should be. But what is the quality meeting is, the first thing, of course, all the roles are filled, and that those people will be there. There's a commitment that they will be there. See, when I said there was 15 or 16 people that came as guests to take on those roles, nobody ever missed, ever. First, because for the first 6, because there were only 2 members and the rest were all guests, the first 6 or 7 meetings, I was the Toastmaster of the day. I ran the meetings, and this began to this is how a quality meeting happens. Now, of course, in your case, you don't have to. You can ask 1 or 2 meetings to, but you should have the Toastmaster of the day to be one of those in the club, because there's 8, 10, 12 people, whatever, right? And so you talk to them as to what a quality club is. Begins on time, very essential, and ends on time, and keeps on time through the agenda, right? And then how the people are speaking. The introduction right at the beginning, when the sergeant at arms opens the meeting, the president's, address, and then the Toastmaster of the day's address should be quality. And the theme in my speak, and now even in leadership speak, is all from communication and leadership. So as soon as, they come in and the theme is strategic leadership, or how leaders succeed, or connect, how leaders connect. And the theme is all about that. Or from communication, vocal variety, pause, 100 words a minute, which is what a normal speech should be, 100 words a minute. I've interviewed world champions of public speaking, and I've asked them, how many words a minute do you speak? They said 100 words a minute. So there was a theme. So as soon as they come in, and that's the theme, throughout the meeting, they're actually practicing that. Okay. Now, clubs will have, sunflower day, or, biscuit day, or tea day, or coffee day. I mean, what are you going to learn? Except, the Toastmaster, they will speak like 1 minute for, what's the coffee day, or it's a tea day, and so what? What's the learning? Yeah, this is a little bit of fun, but so what? Now, if I say, strategic relationships, or strategic leadership, I can talk about strategy and how strategy affects everything, and what we're doing in our club, right? And how can you use it in your daily life? And throughout the meeting, I will have that as mention that and say, look, this agenda is a strategy. Now people are learning throughout the meeting about strategy or strategic, or it gets in their head. Yeah, and I need to use my day timer and strategize my goals and be self-directed, which is what the program is all about, being self-directed. Right? So quality meeting is all those things. And the last thing about quality meetings is this: when a guest arrives at your door and you let them in, how soon should it be before you speak to them and say hello? Anybody?
Immediately.
Immediately. 30 seconds. If it's more than 30 seconds, you've lost the guest, because we live in the click economy. You don't want a guest to come in there. They're fearful of speaking and sitting there and watching all these guys, in the club talking to each other, and they're sitting there, and those guys are talking about who's on the agenda today, who's going to be coming, or shall we wait for the president to come? He's not here yet. They don't want that conversation. That's not quality. So you have to make sure that your club gets that in place, that all these things, that who's coming, who's not coming, sorted out the day before, and that people are committed. See, finding club champions, make sure you talk to the members, that the Toastmaster of the day talks to the members, the president, executive team talks to the members, and starts to push into quality meetings. When you connect with people and they feel genuinely that you care for them and care about them, it's not about DCP points or club success plan or DTM, your DTM, that is out of the way. This is like, I care for you. And they get it. You don't say I care for you, but it comes out, because that is the filter through which you're talking. That I care about you and I care for you, and what can I do for you? And so, immediately they'll get it. You go to a restaurant, right? And you wait for 1 minute, and nobody, and you're told at a nicer restaurant, not on the roadside, but where you have to stand at the front before you're shown to your table. And if somebody doesn't come and ask you why you're here, what you need, and so on within the first minute, you'll get like, what's going on here? And 5 minutes later, if nobody's come, this may be your most favorite restaurant. But 5 minutes, you'll go to the next door restaurant. You might even go to, a dhaba there and have a cup of tea, rather than go and stand there for 5 minutes, nobody's talking to you. But in a restaurant, it may not be that high quality food, and people running around, whatever, and you go and you are still required to stand, before being shown your seat, for example, and immediately, the hostess comes around and says, "Sir, how are you? Welcome. We will get you a table very soon. Please wait. We are just cleaning up the table." Immediately, what happens? And same thing with Toastmasters Club. You are in a click economy. People will click this, click that, and they'll be gone. And even if they stay for the meeting, they'll not come back. First 30 seconds is the rule. If within 30 seconds they're not greeted, boom, gone. So make sure that the club is geared to getting the guests in and converting the guests into members. So you have to make sure that your VP of PR, VP of membership are on board with that, and that your VP of education has the education program laid out so that they're not running around, and have the WhatsApp open. Don't have the conversation, who's coming, who's not coming. Put it on WhatsApp and have a conversation in the WhatsApp as that meeting group. Right? In the meeting group, you have that conversation. In here, you're talking to the guests. Welcome. What brings you here? How can we serve you? Watch the meeting. Here's the agenda in the chat. And look at the chat. And of course, I'm talking about online meetings, but also offline, the same thing. There's a greeter at the door. Some of our clubs are now going physical. There's a greeter at the door. There's a guest book, and somebody shakes their hand or whatever, if you're allowed to shake or not, whatever it is, your culture, because of the pandemic, right? Or namaste, whichever it is, and then sign the guest book. And please sit down at the table and sit next to, a more seasoned member who will explain to you what's really going on, right? That's in a physical meeting. And so on and so forth. Now, here's the thing. When a member joins and is a brand new member, they have to have a mentor, especially if they're a brand new member. There has to be a mentor program. Even though it is self-directed, self-direction doesn't mean that there is no mentor. A mentor will help actually get started them on being self-directed. Mentor is very, very important. And the reason being this, and I'm going to talk about the physical days, I would go into a room, and I always arrive 15, 20 minutes early, even though I was just an ordinary member and I didn't have a title. I would go early. I would greet every member. I walk right around the room and I'll greet everyone. And then ask this guy, what's your role today if it's a brand new member? Grammarian. Do you know how to do the grammarian role? No. Did you contact your mentor? No. Did your mentor contact you? No. Do you know how to do it? No. I said, well, sit down. I'll get your seasoned member to come and sit next to you, and they will explain to you, and they'll sit with you throughout the meeting to help you along. Now, in an online meeting, it's totally isolated. There's no way of getting them to sort of sit next to somebody. And so if this doesn't happen beforehand in the meeting, before the meeting starts, this guy is lost. So is there a mentoring program? Or are new members being looked after before the meeting? See, what happens is leadership happens not during the meeting, it happens in between the meetings, especially if you're online. Leadership happens in between the meetings because that's when you're connecting with people. That's when you're saying, what role do you have? Do you know how to do this role? How did you do the previous time, if you did it the previous time, and how can I help you get better this time? That's leadership. That's coaching. That's mentoring. That's when you begin to shine. When you call on your executive team, you call on the team and say, how can I help you? How can I help you get better? How can I help you, Mr. President, to get better? How can I help you shine this year? It happens in between the meetings when you connect with them and you have conversations with them on a regular basis. So time is involved. You can't say I'm busy and I'll just turn up the meetings whenever I can. You don't have to be, of course, at all the meetings. I went to all the meetings, every one of them. I never missed because there were only 2 members, right? And then everyone I called was my guest if they were going to get the roles going, right? So we already talked about mid executive. We've talked about the purpose of the club. You covered a lot. Culture is very, very important. What I mean by culture is the club culture is, of course, some clubs have a culture where, you go to a meeting, you are not greeted on time, 5 minutes go by, they're still running around. When the meeting might start on time, and the Toastmaster of the day will, look at his agenda. Okay, let me pretend. Toastmaster will go, okay, today's agenda. Okay, is grammarian here? Oh, yes. Our counter? Oh, is not here. Who's going to be the counter? Do you know? When the meeting starts, that's what they're doing. So, and then you lost the guest. Like we say, what the heck's going on here? And you don't want that club culture. The club culture should be, Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, guests. And we are starting this meeting. Today's theme is this, and this is what the theme means, ladies and gentlemen. We have got 3 speakers, 3 evaluators, and table topics, and it's going to be an exciting meeting. You know, stay on and watch the agenda, and we're going to go according to the agenda. And then please ask your questions either at the break or at the end. Right? That's the meeting. Right? In brief. So the club culture needs to change. Behaviors need to change. Time spent beforehand in between the meetings has to change. There has to be more time spent in between the meetings. It doesn't have like hours on end. If everybody spent like 15 minutes each before the meeting, the executive team, I mean, only 15 minutes a week, communicating with each other and saying who's going to be on the agenda and so on. The executive team should have a WhatsApp group of their own, and then there should be a club group as well, so that everyone is talking to each other and connecting, right? Technology is great. In my club, if you don't have WhatsApp account, and in the West, of course, most people don't have. I mean, in India, everyone has a WhatsApp account. I know that, but in the West, a lot of people don't have WhatsApp account, and we say you can't be a member. If you have a WhatsApp account, you can be a member. If you don't have, no, you only communicate using WhatsApp. So they're forced to have. If they really like the club, they're forced to have a WhatsApp account. So have those groups in WhatsApp account, and now WhatsApp has come up with a community, right? So you may have different groups going on, but you can put them all under community as well. So if you send a message in community, everyone gets the message, or if you just send it to the group, only the group will get the message. You know how that works, right? It's a brand new thing that's happening. I just bumped it with this past week. So culture is quality. Have a quality culture, very, very important, and how you talk to your executive team and in the speeches that you'll do on a regular basis, hopefully on a regular basis as well, and get credit for them from your pathways, okay? But geared towards coaching or strategy or how to succeed and those sort of conversations if you can, right? And if you're doing a speech at the club that you're coaching, or even in your own club, because you are now a coach, you have to prepare and practice beforehand. Walk the talk, be exemplary. If you are not walking the talk, kuch nahi hoga. Oh, sorry, I don't know Tamil, of course. You guys all probably speak Tamil. I speak Hindi from Bollywood. Now, what is the club mission? Anyone? It's the Toastmasters International Club mission, right? I don't remember it verbatim, but it's to provide a safe, place, whatever, where members go and so on, right? And so when the executive team is arguing amongst themselves, they're not providing the environment for anybody to grow or learn anything. That's politics. So immediately, one of the other things you could bring to the executive is, what's the club mission? And are you following it? Are you following the 4 values: integrity, respect, service, and excellence? Are you following that? Service and excellence, of course, is what is the club culture, right? You serve and be excellence, which is quality. Are you following that? Boom. Yes, no. Clear cut. The other thing, of course, is then, let's do moment of truth. How many of you have here heard of moment of truth? Yeah, if you've been around for a little while, you know that. Most clubs do that. Moments of truth. And this, I've seen clubs do moments of truth in my 26 years as a Toastmaster. And they write beautiful notes and they get together, but it's just a show, and then nobody follows up. You've seen that. Yeah, I've seen some people nodding their head, and then nobody follows up. A moment of truth is, as a coach, is that you make sure that there's a strategy involved in it, there's planning involved in it, is to, okay, these are the things we discussed that need to be put into place. Okay, now who's responsible for what? Who's accountable, and by what date will you deliver? So those things have to come into place and put in the calendar, and the secretary should record that and then send out the minutes. And then when those dates come by, or even before those due dates come by, you have to ask the person, what's the progress? Are we going to meet the timeline? They should also know if they're committed. Commitment and leadership go together. If they're committed, and if the timeline is approaching, and if you're committed to something and you cannot deliver in your own organization where you work, if you own a project or your own work, whatever it is, and there are always deadlines, and if you're not able to meet that deadline, what do you do with your boss? You tell them way beforehand, I cannot meet this deadline because X, Y, and Z, right? And then the boss will say, okay, let's see, who we can bring in, or okay, let's extend this deadline because we can afford to, or no, we can afford to. It has a drop dead deadline. That's it. Drop dead means either you do it or you're outside the door. But in Toastmasters, that doesn't happen. But you're learning what deadlines are and what commitment is, right? And what's the strategy and what's the plan, and does it end up in the calendar? And is there a follow through? So this is what you're going to coach about. Whether it's the moment of truth and things that come out from moment of truth, or from your conversations with the executive team and the members, here's the plan. Here's how the VP of membership is going to do graphics and put out, the graphics on social media and everywhere else where that it needs to go to. Here is how the members themselves will post to social media wherever it needs to go to, this graphics and so on. Here's the next open house, VP of membership and VP of PR. Are you connecting with each other? When is the next open house? When is the next big event where we're going to draw in guests, right? And VP of education, our guests, once they come into the meeting, as soon as they become members, are they being engaged on the agenda right away? The smallest role is our counter or grammarian or timer. Very easy for them, and they can get their feet wet. Is it being done? All right. That is your coaching that you need to sit down with and coach them through that. Any questions? See, I said I will do a lot of talking, but I will need to hear from you guys as well. So I only hear from about 2 or 3 guys. What about the rest of you?
Brahm, I have a question. In our
Sure.
Toastmasters, there are corporate club and college club as well as community clubs.
Yes.
These 3 clubs' behaviors is completely different.
Correct.
As per me. So, could you throw some strategies as a corporate club and as well as college? And
thank you. Great question. So now, most of what I've said, you are right, is all geared towards a community club. Now, let's shift a little bit. A college club. A college club is usually like a community club. Really, it's a community club, except that it's younger people inside a college setting, right? So there's no really difference, except here's the thing about college clubs. There's a lot of turnover. Because, the student will come in for a semester, or they say, oh, there's a club, okay, let me join the club, and they'll be there for 3 months, and then they've done whatever they wanted to do in that college, whatever that courses, and they're gone. Some of them, of course, are for 3 years, and they'll be there for 3 years. I mean, I'm talking about Canadian. Sometimes it's just semesters. They're only there for 1 semester, right? So 3 months, and they've done whatever they need to do, and they're gone. Some of course, the college, and they do a 3-year degree, 4-year degree, whatever it is in colleges. And so there's a possibility that they'll stay that long, but there's also vacations and so on in between. There's study time, exam time comes and nobody's available. All those problems happen, right? And so that's what happens in colleges. And I know I just this last week, Thursday, I was called, at 6:25, my WhatsApp lights up, and a very good friend of mine said, I'm not well today. Could you please take my place as a role? It's a college club, of course. And now he's not a student, he's actually the past district director. So of course he's committed, right? So he can't go, he's sick, he called me up, he replaced himself. So I went on the dashboard. Of course, I know they've got about 20, 25 people, but there were only 7 people there. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And this is a very good club. They're very good friends of mine in that club, and past district directors. And he said, I don't know what to do anymore. So, but anyways, and a lot of college clubs wanted to open, and they can't really open because they see the turnover of students, and they can't get them together. So there's so many problems. Here's the thing. This is just a recommendation from me from Canada, and it's up to you how you want to follow this through. But if it's a college club, sure, promote it to the students, but also promote it to the faculty. Promote it to people who are outside this particular college, to other colleges as well, if possible. And promote it to the public if possible. So when there's a mix of people, there's no big turnover happening. Also, if it is online, I recommend it to be an online club. Even if the student has moved and has gone to another college or now he's finished his studying, he can still come to the club because it's online. It doesn't matter when he's going to China now or he's in Japan, he can always log in. Right? He's moved from Chennai to Delhi, he can still log in. Unless, of course, schedule or timing, whatever it is, that's changed because he's now moved out of the college. So those are my recommendations for a college. Is always have a mix of people. Otherwise, you'll have that turnover problem. It's natural. And so if it's online and say, be committed to your education, keep getting better. You've passed your college grad degree, but what's the biggest skill that you really need is what? Standing up and speaking with conviction and confidence. You're going to be making presentations. You don't want to be sitting in the back office all your life. You better know how to speak, and you want to be moving forward. Especially if you're an IT person. They're all working in the back office of coding and all that, and that's what they do the whole life. And I know a lot of people who come to my clubs, and they say my boss has recommended that if you want to progress, go to a Toastmasters club and learn something. So selling point, right? Being able to speak with conviction and confidence, to be able to inspire, influence, and inform, to persuade. Those are the skills we learn in communication in pathways. All right. And so those are the things that you bring into the college. Now, corporate clubs, very different. Corporate clubs will usually meet around lunchtime for 1 hour. That's what they do in Canada. Is that the truth as well over there where you guys are, around lunchtime for 1 hour, or maybe around 3 or 4, but during corporate hours, right? Normally. And so same thing applies. Quality meetings, are they starting on time? Are they ending on time? But the biggest thing is, why does this organization want a club inside there or in the corporate organization? Why does Microsoft or Tata or whatever it is organization they work, why do they want a Toastmasters club in there first of all? And who was it that created that club? And was the HR person involved? They may not be a member, but they're looking after the training, or is there a training department? And are they involved? Is the vice president involved? Or is there a manager that's involved who knows that there's a training program called, now remember I said training program, I didn't say club. And in a corporate environment, you don't call it a club, you call it a training program. And be part of this training program. And it's an ongoing training program. It's not like you come for, half a day, you get trained and you're gone. That's what most corporate trainings are. This training program is an hour every other week or every week, depending on the schedule, or once a month. Hopefully it is every 2 weeks or every week. And that it is promoted as a training program by the management of the organization. If it is only a few members that are trying to promote and trying to make something of it in the organization, it'll not succeed, number one. Number two is have the managers or the organization who is responsible to make sure that it is part of the reporting system, that their attendance is reported back, right? It's part of the review process, it's part of their performance process. And that the manager sits down and says, you belong to the Toastmasters club, what have you done? How many pathways did you do? The manager doesn't have to be part of, the Toastmasters club. They don't want to be, but it's part of the review, especially if the organization is paying, because most organizations pay for the employees. So it should be part of the review. The organization should really be involved. And then, when somebody completes a pathway or a level one, the manager or VP or somebody should come in and hand them a certificate, whether in a virtual meeting or physical meeting, and say, this person did great, and let them speak for 2 or 3 minutes. Do you see, does that happen? No, it doesn't happen, but that's what should be happening. It means the organization really has to take interest in, why do we have this year and why is it ongoing? And then the manager or VP or whoever, they know that on Wednesday from 12 to 1, whatever it is, right? There's going to be a meeting. Best if I don't set up a meeting at that time with the employees, because they need to go and learn. We are paying for it, and they need to learn communication, leadership skills, because that hits our bottom line. So that's where they need to be. They don't need to be in a meeting that I'm calling because it's my convenience. So you have to manage upwards. You really have to manage upwards. You really have to push, and you have to go to keep talking to the CEOs, the VPs, and managers, and HR departments. So this is very important for us, and this is what we need to do. So either you as a coach or your president or the executive team need to push back and really get involved and make it like a union, right? It's not a union, but like be strong and say, we want this and this is what we are. And rather than being afraid, oh, I'll lose my job, and everyone's afraid because you're not acting as a team, you're divided and ruled. And you don't want to be divided and ruled as a Toastmaster. You want to sort of get together and say, this is our education. We want to get together and we want you to come and do a speech. Okay, I can keep talking forever. So do you get it now? You have to be very strong.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope Pragya is still around and listening. She's escaped. She's going to have her tea. Okay, so we talked about a lot of things. So why does a club start to fail? Of course, let's have a look at it. It's usually the culture and traditions that will enhance member experience or not, whether meetings are quality, retention is key, reinstatement. Right now, we're going through September. If you're already a club coach and you're coaching the club, what are they doing with the members? Who is talking to the members? Is it only the treasurers sending out an email or WhatsApp? Oh, membership time renewal, please pay your dues, and that's it. Or is the president himself talking to every member one-on-one and saying, what can I do for you? How can I ensure that you succeed? Did you get the value you came here for? And what's the value I can provide for you next year when you renew? Is somebody talking to your members that way, one-on-one? Does that happen in your own clubs? I doubt it. People are very busy. And if you're busy, you'll never learn anything. You'll only learn that you're busy. But when you take time out and you talk to your members, you're learning about leadership. You're learning about connecting with people. And when you effectively begin to do that, what happens in your own organization? You'll become very effective at connecting and collaborating. And guess what? They need managers and VPs like that who can move people and inspire people. You're learning that in Toastmasters. Lots of time I see on Facebook group in Toastmasters International, we have this theme where leaders are made. We only stand up and speak where our leaders made. That's fucking that's nonsense. Leaders are really made here because you're connecting with people. You're connecting with people one-on-one and talking to them, and you're learning about yourself and how to connect with people and how to talk to them and providing value. Like, what can I do for you? How can I inspire you? What can I do for you next year? You're learning to be a great manager, right? One of those great managers that you hear from Tata or from one of those big companies, right? Who really turned around their organization or created groups in the organization that were like high performing only because of that. Only because of that. You see, if a manager is saying, you'd better do your work or you're out of the door, people are doing it because of fear. Or I'm only going to be a club coach because I want my DTM. I'm only doing this in my organization because I want a promotion. But if you connect with people and say, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? How can I make you succeed? When I was in organizations and working and on organizations, I would actually, in my review process, I would say, you're in this position, great. Do you want to go work for Microsoft next? Where do you want to go work for next? Because I know you won't be here forever. What skills do you need so that you can go and work somewhere else? If you want to, tell me, and I'll give you those opportunities. That is the sort of manager that always succeeds, and people will never leave you, actually. People will never leave you. People will never leave a good party. Now, I don't know how long I have. I can keep talking. I mean, we can talk for 2 hours. I mean, 1 hour is past. So it's all up to Pragya. But People will never leave a good party. So, for example, in a club, if you have a meeting, if you just have meeting after meeting after meeting, which is like, speeches, table topics, evaluations, speeches, table topics, evaluation, speeches, people will fall asleep. They get bored. So are there exciting things that you do at your club? Like yesterday at Leadership Speak, we had a global icebreaker challenge. And it was only icebreakers. And we had 10 speakers from around the globe, three or four of our own members and 6 people from outside. And we threw open the doors and we had 10 speeches, each of course, it's an icebreaker challenge. So these were, and it's an advanced club. So these were seasoned speakers. And each one spoke for 6 minutes. There was an evaluation only for 2 minutes. And the evaluators were also judges. So the audience voted for the best speaker, but also they judged, the evaluators actually did the judging form, contest judging form, and judged who would, and we had a chief judge, and so it became so much fun as well. And, and then we looked at who the audience had, voted in and who the judges voted in as the best speaker, first, second, and third speaker. And the audience and the judges chose the same first speaker, but the second and third were different, and they had to compare as to why they were different. And so it makes it exciting and it's different. Sometimes, I've created a month back, we had a themed meeting called Men in Black. The movie Men in Black. If you've ever seen the movie Men in Black, we wore dark glasses, dark jacket, white shirt, tie, men and women, and we had fun. Yet we did speeches, yet we had table topics, right? And it was like what we do in a regular meeting, except that the theme was Men in Black. But we also brought in a leadership aspect into it, fun and excellence, to serve, to have fun and to excellence. That's what leaders should have and do. And so now on a regular basis, you created some fun and something different, and people look forward to that, right? After this icebreaker challenge, people are looking forward to the next one as to what we will do next. So around in North America, we have Halloween at the end of October. And we're going to do a big marathon speaking again, all people dressed up and doing vocal variety and changing the voices and so on and doing different things so that it becomes exciting and interesting and keeps them engaged. People will never leave a good party. Retention, reinstatement, getting guests to become, and conversion. All that, right? So now we've talked about a lot of things, and we can keep talking about a lot more things, but what do you guys think? Back to you, all of you. I can only see one video on, so it's only going to be me and Trinath going to talk.
Ram, I have a question. So when you talked about the high quality meeting section, so you mentioned about using themes that are relevant to communication and leadership. So if all the club members are at a very nascent stage and they just joined the club, at that point, how do we really craft that content? How can a Toastmaster craft that content around leadership and communication? How can one add value with their Toastmaster of the day role?
If from communication you have a theme, vocal variety, or the pose, this is the pose, or 100 words a minute, or eye contact, or gestures, it's all communication. It could be just one of those themes, right? And so would a brand new person, totally brand new person, understand that? Immediately, of course. If you have strategic relationships or strategic plan or being self-directed leader or connect, would people understand that if it's put in terms? I mean, they're working for organizations. They're not like from kindergarten, right? Or they're not just directly out of school, and they don't have any experience in life. And even if they are brand new and they're just finished college, they still have experience. They will understand. In Toastmasters, it's not supposed to be some complex psychology theory, right? Or some complex, corporate, from the HR manual. You're not doing that. You're putting it in the most basic way as to how can we connect. What does connection mean? Yeah. If you care for each other, if you work as a team, let's connect, right? If I just speak and send out emails and put in WhatsApp messages in a group, nobody responds, as you know, right? You put a message in your WhatsApp group and you say, I need this. How many people respond? Nobody responds. Maybe one person will respond. You know that. It doesn't work. It's universal. It's a human nature. It's the way our brain works. Somebody else will do it. There's global warming and the world is going to hell. And, nobody cares because somebody else will do it. They have this Paris Accord and the Tokyo Accord and the Brazil Accord, they meet and they talk and then they keep spewing out carbon in the air, right? Because somebody else will do it. And so if you want something done in your club, connect individually one-on-one. Don't put a message and expect, the whole club will get it and somebody will, people will just say, yeah, yes, we'll do it. They won't. So you have to explain that, right? If that is the theme. What is the theme in the club meeting and how the Toastmaster of the day will craft. In fact, at Leadership Speak, the Toastmaster of the day will not only have the theme, but they will also craft at least 150-word write-up, which is content. They will produce content which is for social media posts. Should a club create content? Yes. And if you created content and the guests see that content, and there's now every week a content being posted to social media, and it's relevant to Toastmasters. That's why I said the theme is from Toastmasters. It was like, a cup of coffee or tea, and that's the theme. And now, what can you write about that on social media? And what will the guests learn from it? You know what I mean? So, did I answer your question there? Was it Pragya?
This is Puvili. Yes, Pramit.
Sorry.
Okay,
Okay, because your video is off and you didn't put up your hands. I didn't know who it was. Okay, Lakshya Gupta has got a thumb up. Who's Lakshya Gupta?
Hey, Brahm, that was just a like to the comment that you made. Thank you so much for the wonderful answer.
You're welcome.
And I would like to just add one point to the point, which is what you said, right? When it is everybody's responsibility, everybody thinks that somebody will do it, and nobody does it. That's interesting story. Yeah.
It's universal. It's human nature. So it doesn't matter
Yes.
whether you're in Chennai or you're in China or in Tokyo or in Toronto. It's human nature.
Exactly.
So what you put in the group as well is very, very important. As the president or VP or as a coach, how are you going to inspire people? Not request this thing needs to be done. Who is going to do it? No, but have a quote or have something interesting. I like cats. I watch a lot of cat videos, and a lot of members have cats. So whenever I see a cartoon about cat on social media somewhere that is more interesting, I will post that in the group, but it's limited. It's not like way off. Like people start posting things that are not relevant to Toastmasters. That shouldn't happen either. Sometimes I will see a cartoon or something, a graphic about grammarian, and the grammar police, as they call it, and I'll take that cartoon and post it because it's relevant to Toastmasters. And so we create a different type of conversation in the WhatsApp group as well, right? But it's limited, so it's not like crazy, like people are just posting stuff, and then people are overwhelmed with posts as well. So we restrict the posting as well as to what is being posted, but it's relevant. Sometimes it's humorous. People are now getting engaged. So when you get a request with something is happening, people are more prone to respond, right? Pragya is back from a tea break.
No, my in-laws were here, so I just had to quickly attend and come back in 2 minutes. So yeah, Brahm, we have 20 more minutes for your session, as well as if you want any Q&A for the people.
Okay, that's great. I mean, the Q&A is happening as we are going along anyway, so 20 more minutes.
Brahm, thank you. Yeah, so Brahm, hi, Rajesh this side. Thanks for a great session. I've learned a lot of things.
Put up your hand so I know who's talking.
Yeah, Rajesh.
Okay, Rajesh. Sure. Okay, I can see now.
I'm a little bit internet issue, so I was on and off in the video. That's just a question. So suppose you are assigned as a club coach on the club, and you see that EC member are dropping off from the club or they're not renewing. For an example, VP membership or VP education. Now, as a club coach as an external factor. We are there to boost up the club. How you help the club because the EC member are already dropping off and they are not interested to renew. If you can guide, that will be great.
Your sound isn't very clear, but this is what I get is you're saying the VP of Education is not renewing?
VP
Is that what you
education.
said?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, so
Yes.
our VP of Education is not renewing and they're dropping out of the club.
Yes.
Okay. I get it. And so a club election is due, right? To begin with.
Yeah. Yes.
Or, of course, you want to find out why the VP of Education is leaving. I mean, it could be job change, it could be family change, all those reasons that people leave. So one of the things is, and it happened quite a bit in leadership speak. People said, I will be, VP of membership, or I will. So then we say, okay, now this is what you need to do as VP of membership, VP of education. And they suddenly realize, oh, this is what I have to do. I resign. It happened in an advanced club. I've been around for 26 years. So then, we had re-elections, but this is what we did. From now on, what I'm going to be doing is when an officer is being elected there, you have to ask them, why are you running for that particular election? Is it for the title? Some people love it and they put it on social media. I'm the president, I'm the VP of education, I'm VP of membership, of this club. And people do that. And I see that all the time. And they're not concerned about how am I going to serve. When somebody wants to run for a position, are you going to serve? What do you want to learn from this? Where are you at now currently, and where do you think you will be in the future by doing this position? So those are the things that need to be put into place in a gentle way, of course, because you're a community club. In an advanced club, you're a bit more, straightforward. In a community club, a bit less. It's about, we care about you. What's your growth? Let's plan your growth and so on. So you have to have a club election anyways. If you have to talk to the VP of education as to why he's leaving, what are the reasons for leaving, and because you're a club coach over there, of course, it could be the politics, it could be the environment, it could be the quality, it could be anything, or which is the hardest role to fill, by the way, in a club? VP of education, right? We know it globally, anywhere. Why? Because we don't know how to lead. And so when we don't know how to lead, then, people will say, I will come to the club and I'll speak on this day. And then, 3 days before this, I can't come. And the VP of education now tearing their hair out. And that's why nobody wants to be a VP of education, because they keep running around people and people don't answer whatever. That's the culture in most clubs, by the way, even good clubs.
Yes, I agree.
And so the environment that needs to be formed is, connect one-on-one, spend the time connecting with members. Again, same thing. Connect. How can I do what can I do for you? I care about you. I have a genuine interest. I don't want forget my title as president, forget my DCP points, club success plan. What can I do for you? How can I help you? When there's a human connection, then things tend to be different. So those things are not happening. I mean, this VP of education may leave even after you talk to them and find out why they're not there, and you can tell them we can change things. They may still leave, or it could be a circumstance that but they have to leave. So who's going to be the next VP of education? While you're finding the next VP of education, can the president, VP of membership, VP of PR, and all that come together and act as the VP of membership together, VP of education together as a team? Because all they need is to spend time with the members one-on-one. Same conversation again. What can I do for you? By now, that is the only thing that will save any club, anytime.
Yeah, understand. Thank you.
Brahm, this is Ramesh. Because I have a challenge with work power here, I just would like to say thank you very much for that wonderful session. So many points which I could able to take, because my battery is dried up. So I just would like to say thank you and grateful to have you to my session and to the session. And I just want to say that click economy, which is fascinating for me, because we heard about gig economy and all the different economies, but click economy is something which is new from a chartered accountant. We love to have you in our club. Along with me and Suresh, we found a club called Toastmasters for Cash Flow Entrepreneurs, right? And this is an open invitation through this platform. Thank you very much, Brahm.
You'll have to bribe me for calling him.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so before we all leave, we have our district logistics manager, Toastmasters Trinat, in the meeting room. Trinat, may I please request you to present the certificate to Brahm?
Before you do that, however, I think Varun has his hand up. Is it Varun Kumar? He's had his
Yes,
hand up
Brahm.
for a while.
He had a couple of
Yes, Brahm.
questions, Brahm. Varun, if you're in a position to talk, absolutely go ahead and post your questions to Brahm.
Okay, so Brahm, my question is, how or what ways are there to do more PR or the public relations of a club? Because I'm an area director of a club in District 6, somewhere in Minnesota, but I live in Spain. So how can I connect more with respect to the city or to the area which the club members are and make them do more PR?
Which means you are an online club, right?
Yes, I am.
And in an online club, members can join from anywhere. You are in Spain. Where is the club? In Chennai or District 126, right?
It's in Minnesota. It's in District 6, USA.
Oh, you're okay. and you're in an online club in Minnesota.
Yes.
So the club is accepting members from anywhere on the globe.
No, they are just accepting the club members from USA.
Okay. Anywhere in USA. US is a big country, right?
Yes.
300 million people. And as you know, there's 16,000 clubs, about 15 now. And so it lose. Half of the clubs, 50% of the clubs are in the USA. About 7,000 or 8,000 clubs are in the USA. Did you know that? And the rest of the 8,000 are all over the rest of the globe. It's a big market in the USA. And if you're looking for members from only USA, perfect. That's the biggest market. And now could you put it on social media and say, we need members. Here's a promotion. There's different regions in the US. So there's like 7 or 8 different regions because of 8,000 clubs. God knows how many districts, about 50, 60 districts, or maybe less. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Maybe there's 20, 30, I don't know. But there's so many districts and then so many groups and so on. And so, host in those groups and regions to begin with. Then create a search engine optimized website if you can. And it's very cheap these days. This is where I am at. This is where the club is. This is where the club is meeting. This is what we are providing. Have videos, video content. See that we make our Toastmasters, they write a content every week. Content is king. And we live in the click economy. YouTube videos of your meetings, of your speakers, every meeting. And so that generates traffic and search engine optimized with the right keywords, right? And so it doesn't matter, you don't have to go to in this particular area, or I need to focus. If you're an online club, the world is the oyster. And frankly speaking, I'm not even looking for members from District 86. I said the rest of the clubs in the District 86 can look for members from District 86. I'm going to go globally and I'm going to look for members from everywhere else in the world. And so we have members from India, we have members from, I forget now, so many different countries, Europe, South, Namibia, Caribbean, the USA, spread out everywhere with lots of members. And so, we are not focusing on one little area. So we have world champions of public speaking come and speak. We have international presidents come and speak at our club. In fact, after this meeting at 9:30, I'm going to attend Globetrotters meeting, which is in Kolkata, right? One of them, their president is in my club. And he said, Brahm, can you help me find, it's our 50th meeting. Can you help me find a few people to come? So I found them World Championship of Public Speaking. I got them an international president to come and talk. I'm going to be speaking there just about in half an hour in Kolkata. Come and have a look and see what they're doing, and why they're successful. So visit successful clubs would be another thing that we haven't talked about. Who are the successful clubs? What are they doing? Interview the presidents of those clubs. And so on. Sorry, I can keep talking, Pragya. So you're giving me a certificate. Can I take it now? Yeah, I came here for the certificate.
Sure.
All right.
So we have Toastmaster Trinat, who's a district logistics manager for District 126. I would request him to present the certificate.
Well, thank you so much, Brahm. We learned a lot today. In fact, I personally learned a few things that I should be doing as a club coach, starting from club quality, how we can improve it, not just the theory, but you also gave us some tools that we can implement. It is really helpful for us. I'm pretty sure everyone in this group are able to make an impact with the specific training added at their back. So thank you so much for taking time early in Canada at this point of time and making sure that we get the sufficient knowledge to be successful as club coaches. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And it's a pleasure. And you know what? This is just one session. And in one session, people don't learn everything. Call me. I'm available. I'm here to serve. I don't come here for the certificates, but thank you so much for the certificate. I really do appreciate it. But you know what I mean, right? I'm walking the talk. Like I said, don't come here because you want a DTM. Come here because you want to serve, right? And that's what I'm saying. And so yeah, call me if you want me to come to your club, I can come and do that as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And I would extend my heartiest thanks to DTM Brahm, who accepted off his time. He took out the time and he made us aware about what is the right way to work as a club coach, so that we don't just serve to get the titles, but we do serve because we want to serve and learn out of it at the same point of time. It's been great learning, DTM Brahm, and thank you for joining us again. All the people who have joined us today, in case you would want to go back to the learnings, soon the district training team would be sharing the link of the same, which we have recorded into the group, and you can access the same training from there as well. I am the Assistant District Training Manager for District 126, signing off today. If you have any other training requirements that you would want us, because right now we are still online, we have exposure to global experts, I would say, who have walked the talk. We can get people from anywhere across globe still till the time we completely go offline. So if you have any training requirements in your area, club, or anywhere, please do message me or Sandeep or Vamshi Alari. Any of these three people would be reachable to you, and you can let us know. So with this, we have come towards the end of this amazing session that we had from District 126 on club coaches training. Signing off today, adjourning the meeting. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
If you want to stay for networking, we'll be open for another 2 minutes. I'll just stop the recording.